Okay. Call the meeting to order. Okay. Ladies, are you ready? Yes. Good. All right. So, welcome to our first sports committee meeting of the year. My name is Wayne Swords. I work for a company called Delaware North, and we run the Courtyard Marriott in Titusville, as well as the Kennedy Space Center and Visitor Complex and a bunch of other stuff. So last year I was on the Capital Facilities Committee, and this year I am on sports, and I'm excited to be here. So I guess what do you want to do? Go around the room, or do we need to do anything before that?
I'll actually be taking a formal roll call
Very good.
beforehand. Okay, please respond with here. Wayne Sword,
Here.
Jason Pierce,
Here.
Lynn Min,
Yeah.
Jamie Tejero, Fred Poppy,
Here.
Megan Carlone,
Here.
Mayor Dan Diesel, Drew Watson. Here. Thank you very much, Chair.
Everyone talking about microphone etiquette? Yes, when you're talking, put on your microphone. When you're not, don't have it on it. What else to say about this? Yeah, I like it. That was a tough topic of the day. And then we'll go by the Robert's Rules of Order. I think everyone understands how that goes. All right. Are there any members here that have any conflicts or need to disclose any conflicting business relationships with today's agenda? No.
No.
Okay, no. And we need a motion to approve the sports committee minutes of November 8th, 2023. So moved. Copy. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we need to appoint a sports committee vice chair. Usually we'll ask first. Oh. We still have to be nominated.
That might not be.
I was gonna say, that's not gonna be too difficult.
That might not be because one of the check.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe off the hook.
Voluntold. That's the term I like to use.
Yeah, I can't nominate anybody.
I'm willing to do it again, or Lynn, would you like to do it, or? Okay.
Hey, Jamie.
Okay.
Okay. We have a second for
Second.
Jamie. Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Right. Welcome, Jamie.
Congrats.
Hope will be traffic.
Okay, I'm passing off to Terry this time.
All right, well, just gonna go over the sports grant, we're gonna review, discuss the guidelines, application checklist, and the score sheet. So first things first, you would turn your attention to the sports grant guideline. Our plan is to go one section at a time. First of all, does everyone have a copy? Very good. We're gonna go one section at a time and one change at a time. And then what we're doing, we'll have a discussion. If anyone has anything to say pertaining to that particular edit, then feel free to take the floor. Okay, so in section 1.0, introduction and background, you see here we've struck competitive event and changed that to competition. And we've also placed the goals of the sport and event grant program. The goals are listed here as to assist the county in attracting and growing high quality competitive events, to generate significant economic impact through participant and spectator spending and hotel revenue, and 3, to promote Brevard County through market reach and marketing reach. Towards the end of that particular page, you'll see the introduction of our new Tier 2 grants. Tier 2 grant to be fully administered by the Tourism Development Office. Reimbursement for expenses will go to the vendors, not the event organizers. Reimbursements are dependent on the ability for the TDO to contract for services and fees. So at this moment, I'll open the floor up for any discussion pertaining to section 1 of the fiscal year 24-25 sports grant guidelines.
Sorry, could I kick off and just, before we even got to section 1, I did notice that events have got crossed out of the title. So was that the reason for that?
That is correct, Lynn. So I did oversee that. So we're going to, from henceforth, will be known as the sports grant guideline, simply, instead of sports and events grant guideline program.
Okay, so does that mean that if it's an event that's proposed or an application that is an event that has nothing to do with sport, it's excluded automatically?
I would say that is the idea.
Okay, okay.
Anything that qualifies for this grant, you have to be a sports related competition or event already. So it's sort of redundant to say an event. So
Okay.
we're just going to keep it very simple and call it sports grant.
Yep.
And I would like to make sure that so everywhere you see sports and event grant, if it's not struck out, then it's sports grant. That's what we want to go with. So at this time, again, I will open the floor for any questions or discussion pertaining to section 1 of the sports grant program. Okay,
Sherry, just a question about the reimbursements provided, expenses will go to the vendors, not event organizers.
okay. And that is strictly for tier 2.
Okay,
The logic behind this is these are the grants that in the past we have not been able to accommodate because of such short notice.
Okay.
Because of such short notice, they don't need any marketing. They don't need any other expenses. They would just like their fields or the facility paid for.
Okay.
And with that being said, so we'll make the arrangements if it's an event that takes place imminently. We'll be able to make the arrangements with either the Brevard Parks and Recreation Facility, Brevard Public School Facility here in the county, and make arrangements to pay them directly at the conclusion of their event.
so the vendors will be essentially local stakeholders here, whatever fields or,
That is correct.
okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we will now go to, I don't think there's no need to go through section 2. Section 3 is fine. Section 4. Section 4. Events that occur between October 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2025 shall submit their application between May 1st, 2024 and May 31st, 2024. This essentially is getting rid of the 2 cycles of our sports grant. We're going to have going to a 1 cycle model for any events that make that application in that application window. And as you see here, if you look at on the next page, the grant application window will open on May 1st. It closes on May 31st. Applications will be seen by the sports committee members on June 15th. There will be a recommendation meeting on July 10th. It will go to the TDC for approval on July 24th. And the Board of County Commissioners final approval on August 6th. Application process and key dates for Tier 2. Tier 2 events are available for funding year-round. Annual funding of this program is subject to the full funding of the TDC sports budget line item. In the event that applicant funding requests exceed the total budget of the Tier 2 sports grant program, funding awards may be reduced proportionately in order to stay within the total budget amount allocated to the program. So at this time, I will open the floor for any discussion or question pertaining to section 4.0 of the fiscal year 24-25 sports grant program.
But just so that I'm completely clear, we don't approve tier two, just tier one. Tier two comes straight to you. There's a set budget for it, and then the money goes straight to the vendors.
That is,
And I think it's a limit of $1,000.
that is correct.
Okay,
That is correct.
thank you.
Are there any other questions?
The mayor may have joined us on Zoom. It's just a phone number, but I'm guessing
Okay,
maybe if you want to ask.
okay. The person 321-615-1019, could you please identify yourself? Yeah.
Can we ask to unmute?
Could you please ask, could you please unmute? Yes. Oh, okay.
Somebody's true.
All right, so we're gonna go to section 5.0, eligibility. Eligibility for tier one, competition held on Florida Space Coast must produce a minimum of 200 room nights in Brevard County accommodation with a tourism tax account. Have an equivalent economic impact through attendance of athletes and or spectators from outside of Brevard County, or show a significant marketing reach outside of Brevard County. Event applications must receive a majority vote from sports committee members to be considered eligible for funding. Any applicant must be in good standing with any prior event funding awards, post-event reporting requirements, room night reports, and or reimbursement requests in order to qualify for this application. If an applicant has previously been awarded a grant in any cycle and has not fulfilled their contractual obligation under the grant, or if an applicant has forfeited prior funding due to inability to comply with post-event reporting, the sports committee may determine their eligibility on a case-by-case basis. So we'll just discuss that portion first. As you see here, the score of 70 or above is going away in its strict majority vote of the sports committee members.
So voting in favor of a proposal, up or down, essentially.
Essentially, yes, sir.
And then in terms of in the past, we've considered, percentages. How would we do? We wouldn't do that. Essentially, if they requested 20,000, if we vote yes, it's for the 20,000, whatever it is.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. We will now move down to the end of section 5.0 and speak to eligibility for tier two. Venues must be located within Brevard County. A minimum number of 120 coaches, players, and fans must stay in accommodation that collect Brevard County tourist development tax to qualify. Accommodation stays must pay tourist development tax. Event must have a minimum of 120 players, coaches, and fans to qualify. Event must have a minimum of 3 days of competition. Friday night start with a Sunday afternoon end. Event organizer must provide a rental agreement for the venue. An event organizer must provide team invoices from the hotel. Are there any questions, comments pertaining to eligibility of tier two event?
How do you know they actually come up with 120 people?
Well, most, if not all of our events, they provide some sort of roster. So for instance, we have numerous events that come here between the golf events and the events that are going on right now in USSA complex. And they all provide the event organizer with rosters. So ultimately it's up to the event organizer to provide this information to us. So it would benefit them to get that information from the team. So that's how it's done. Are there any other questions? Okay, so we will move down to section 6, available funds. up to 240,000 may be available for the fiscal year of 2024, 2025 for a competitive sports program, sports grant, a competitive grant program to fund competitions that demonstrate a significant economic impact to Brevard County tourism as described in these guidelines. The TDO allocates funds from its marketing budget to a grant program for event owners, rights holders, tournament directors, groups, and organizations that coordinate events with a demonstrated history of producing significant economic impact, hotel revenue, and or marketing reach outside of Brevard County. Are there any questions or comments? Tier 1. The going rate for reimbursement is $15 per room night with a maximum award of $25,000. You see the tiers here. For a minimum of 200 room nights, you can receive up to $3,000 worth of support. 201 to 500 is $3,015 to $7,500. 501 room nights to 1,000 room nights, $7,515 to $15,000. 1,001 to 1,500 room nights, $15,015 to $22,500. Anything above 1,501 room nights would be $22,515 up to the maximum of $25,000. Going down to tier 2, the maximum funding amount would be $5,000 per event. Are there any questions pertaining to the funding award amount? Tier 1 and tier 2.
It's 240,000 total, and there's no division between tier 1 and tier 2. It's just the total cost.
That is the total amount, yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Okay, so now we will go to the eligible use of funds, section 7.0. And we'll go down to what funding may be used for. Well, excuse me, let me go back up. There's an area struck out here. Funding is intended to support marketing, promotional efforts, and our venue or event site rentals. So again, that depends on what type of event those are. So tier 1, we've added equipment. I'm just gonna read all of them. Sports facilities, required sports personnel, marketing and programming expenses for the event, paid advertising, media buys outside of Brevard County for the event, site fees, cost and rental, equipment, goal rental or usage fee, field or court maintenance, field or court staff, field or court materials, rights and sanction fees for the governing body of sport, and non-monetary awards, i.e. medals, ribbons, plaques, so on and so forth. And tier 2 is venue rental, equipment, goal rental, usage fee, field or court maintenance, field or court staff, field or court materials, and officials fees. Are there any questions about the funding uses for tier 1 and tier 2 events? All right. So the next page, additional funding use information. Fourth event has been changed to competition. See here, budget should also include projected revenue for the event. Section 8.0 is a couple of changes, not changes, but corrections, excuse me. Section 9.0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bullet number 6. Individual members of the sports committee will evaluate and validate each application. So again, it speaks to you're not going to be doing the ranking as in the past. Hotel room revenue, economic impact, and marketing reach will be taken into account when considering grant award. The TDO director has the authority to approve expenses related to competitions or events up to and not exceeding the highest level of award, which is $25,000. And on the next page, the last sentence of section 9.0, awards are not final and available for use until final approval by the TDO executive director and contract have been fully executed. Are there any questions pertaining to section 9.0?
Terry, I guess, the second to last point, essentially that says that the TDO director has the discretion to provide any additional funding up to 25,000 for an event. The TDO director has the authority. So say for whatever reason, we decided not to, he has the discretion up to 25,000.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, reporting requirements, section 10.0.
Mr. Chair.
Excuse me.
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized? This is Peter Kranis.
Hi, Peter.
Hey, hi Wayne, thank you. Thank you for to everybody on the committee. I just apologies for not being there in person. I have a 3 o'clock meeting at the government center, so leaving you in good hands with Terry and John. I just want to respond to that last question. The intent of that is just to make sure that I can sign agreements related to grants that the committee, the TDC, and the board approves. There would not, I would not use that. The intent is not to use that to circumvent or go against any committee decisions. So that's really merely perfunctory to give me the ability to sign agreements, not necessarily to award something beyond what the committee would recommend.
Thank you, Peter, for the clarification. I think it also prevents a situation that I think we had happened last time when we didn't have quorum to approve something that was sort of universally agreed upon. That would avoid a situation like we had last time.
Yes, sir. Correct. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll go to section 10.0, reporting requirements. All of these items were crossed out because of redundancy. They're listed later on in the reimbursement procedures in this package. So that's why those are red. So if you go to the next page, tier 2, which because it is a new product, the event organizer is responsible for providing the following. The event organizer must provide a rental agreement for the venue. The event organizer must provide teams invoices and room night reports from the hotel. Are there any questions or comments pertaining to section 10? Okay, so we'll move to section 11 again. The paragraph that is marked through is because of redundancy. It's already listed later on. So we'll go down to those dates in the second to last section. Deadline for all grant reimbursement for fiscal year 24-25 is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, October 9th, 2025. Okay, on the next page, we'll go to item number 2, vendor invoices and receipts for allowable expenses. It speaks to, again, the addition of tier 2. Letter C, original invoices from venues must be provided. And finally, on the next page, item letter M, original invoices from venues must be provided. Again, these are for tier 2 events. Are there any questions pertaining to section 11? Okay. So in section 13, terms and conditions, in terms of section 1, payment procedures for tier 1, it speaks to the new dates of October 9th of 2025 as the absolute end of the payment. According to payment procedures, must be paid by October. Excuse me. All of your paperwork has got to be in by October 9th, 2025. In the last paragraph, the grantee must reach 100% of projected total room nights in order to be eligible to receive the full amount. If the total room nights are less than 100%, example, if 75% of the room nights are delivered, then the grant recipient will receive up to 75% of that grant amount. On the next page, it speaks to the payment procedures in tier 2. Payment will only be made to the venue after it has been determined venues are located within Brevard County. Event meets the minimum number of players, coaches, and fans. The event meets the minimum number of competition days. The event organizer provides original rental agreement for the venue. Event organizer provides invoices from hotels used during the event. Payment will be made to Space Coast Sports Commission will pay invoices directly to the vendors once the event has been completed. Event support will not exceed this formula. The number of room nights paid, I can't see that. The number of room nights paid CDT times 15, and the total event support will not exceed $5,000 per event.
Leave the remainder is just a boilerplate.
Correct.
The only changes you might see there as a result of us changing from a ABCD to a full.
Correct.
There.
On the well, there's one more change here. On the bottom of the score, on the bottom of the score sheet, you turn to the score sheet at the bottom, all of the those application checklists have been they've been removed. So there's no longer a completed application checkpoint, detailed event description, event budget, event timeline, schedule, event maps, event history. So that's no longer there because we have a new checklist that we will go over here momentarily. Are there any comments or questions about the guidelines? At this moment, Chair, you may move to accept these guidelines.
Just the guidelines, right? Not the application checklist we did this time.
Just the guidelines.
Okay. All right, so I can make the motion? No. Yeah, we need a motion to approve the guidelines we just reviewed.
Motion to approve the guidelines that we've just approved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Okay, next up on the agenda, we have the applications. If you turn your attention to the packet labeled fiscal year 24-25 sports grant application.
Terry, I want to interrupt 1 second. I want to let people on the phone know that Jamie has arrived and is participating in the meeting. If you didn't figure that out already. So. Thank you, Terry.
Yes, sir. So question number 1. We are identifying the type of the application that's being submitted. Will your event be a tier 1 or tier 2 event? The maximum awards are listed for both as is the eligibility for both of these events. these tiers. And from there, everything else is pretty standard, nothing else is changed. Number 2, applicant information, what is the event title? Number 3, the applicant contact information. Number 4, the event information. How many days will your event be held? Number 5, what is the desired first day? Number 6, a brief description of your event. Number 7, where's the location? Number 8, has your location, venue, or facility been secured? Number 9, estimated event attendance, total participants projected to attend your event. Number 10, the total spectators projected to attend your event. Number 11, the total members of media. Number 12, how much event grant support are you requesting? Number 13, what is the purpose of your financial support? Number 14, what is the projected total number of paid room nights for your events? Number 15, have you secured hotel and or lodging partners? Number 16, please provide the names and location of those partners. Number 17, event history. Number 18, insurance for the event. And number 19 is E-Verify enrollment status. Number 20 is untitled. Number 21 is a message, and then finally 22 are your required attachments. Are there any questions or comments pertaining to the fiscal year 24-25 sports grant application?
Terry, I have one,
Yes.
and it relates more to, my department. In the past, we've had, groups come in and use our fields, and in our fee policy, they get a discount if it's TDC approved. So I'm not quite sure how that would work now. If they came to you, would you contact us if you're using our facilities?
Or vice versa? Could it be the other way too?
Well, the reason I'm asking, because in the past, when they came to us, they were already approved by the TDC, and because of that, in our fee structure, we give them a discount because of that. So I'm not sure quite how that would work under these new guidelines.
Well, ultimately, you can charge them whatever you want to charge them.
Right, I understand that. I'm just saying that because it helped with tourism and everything, we gave them a break because we thought that, maybe that would enhance the use of the fields more.
Yeah, I would say, I know, Brevard County Parks and Recreation, they don't use anything like that.
They used to.
Okay.
But we can look into it for sure. But I think that's kind of a little bit of marketing leverage that we have when we carry going to trade shows and conferences and that kind of thing. Say, let us know when you're coming down. If we book you down in your neck of the woods, then there's going to be some additional discounts to your invoice.
Yeah, I just wondered how the communication would run. A good example of that was that flag football was one of those.
Right.
Right. And then I know there was some difficulties with, him as far as after event information, but when they came down, I mean, they brought 30, 40 teams down, so they definitely qualified.
Fred, I don't see, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that's necessarily critical to the nature of the guidelines. I think that's gonna just be good communication between you and Terry.
Okay.
I think, and to count on it on our side of things, that we will make sure that communication happens with you.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I need to clarify.
Okay.
Okay,
I have a question on the application as a newbie. As far as the fan count, how is that calculated? Is it an average? And then also how is that verified when they give you that number?
the band count. Well, sometimes, and this is the thing, some events they're ticketed, so they use their ticket information. And in the past, we've also used, cell phone data tracking to sort of, use as a backup for whatever numbers that they provide. But they just provide the best number that they can.
So it's a guess, and then we just have to evaluate the application based on what they're telling us on the fan count.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some generally accepted measurements that you can use, like a.
Like an average, like a
Right,
one
like-
to two person per family or per athlete.
Yeah, and it really kind of depends on the event, you know, a U12 girls event. You're gonna have quite a few more people attending
Right.
than if it's a collegiate event. And I think that's part of what we're trying to, accomplish with our engagement relationships with the event organizers. That they, like, make sure everybody's giving you all their information so that we can account for all of that.
Folder at home.
Yeah, because the fan count can play a big role in your vote on a typical event.
Mhm.
Obviously, more people.
The other component is the benefit of history. So most of these events have history. So they'll have room counts, they validate the information. So if someone, has historically produced this number and it's been validated, unless they're making a big jump and it's safe to assume that they're going to be able to meet that target. And if they're projecting an increase of double, what have you, what accounts for that increase? They will explain it. A lot of these events will be repeat events with established history.
Okay, next up on the agenda, we have the checklist. So if you pull your checklist out. Oh, excuse me.
Okay, all right, we need a motion to approve the 24-25 sports grant application.
Motion to approve the sports grant application is presented for fiscal year 24-25.
Second.
All approved, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
At this time, we will, draw our attention to a checklist. Do you have your checklist with you, everyone?
No.
No. Yeah. Okay.
On the screen.
Yep, so if you're trying to turn your attention to either screen, we can go over the checklist. Tourism Development Sports Grant Checklist. Each of the below items must be included with the application. One being the checklist and the applicant information. In part one, there are 5 portions of the checklist. So you have the application, you have a detailed budget table form, the letters of commitment for any funding partners, a detailed marketing plan, and a detailed event or site plan. In part two, you have an executed contract, the certificate of insurance of a minimum of $1 million of general liability insurance, E-Verify enrollment verification, a W-9, and in part three, reimbursement request form, post-event report, and a lodging report. And then on the next page is the actual checklist that we would use for each one of our grantees.
This was something that was started at the end of last year, basically, because, when you're working with a lot of these event organizers, we want it to be very clear to them. I need this, I need this. What you see is, this is all the stuff you need to have, and then staff will be, and this is for all the committees, they'll be checking off. Did they provide us with the budget table format? Did they provide us with a detailed marketing plan? If we check yes, no problem, but if we check no, then we need to write in there, what's the rationale for why they didn't provide this to us? There were some issues last year that this is going to address those, and everybody's using basically the same thing. There's a couple little changes between committees. This is just a check and double check, and then check again. Make sure we have everything that you absolutely need. We want to make sure these people get what we can give.
Okay. Now we need a motion to approve the checklist and score sheet for 24-25.
Motion to approve the score sheet and checklist for 24-25.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, so back into your main packet, on the third to last page is your score sheet. And other than the changes that I described earlier, everything else will remain the same.
Very good.
Okay.
So that the guideline packet,
Yeah.
it'll be towards the end.
Can you scroll up, please?
Go up.
Yes, there you go. But they don't have theirs? Okay, so again, nothing has changed whatsoever, other than, Joanna, would you mind scrolling up to where we can see the bottom of that page, please? Okay, so they've been taken out already. Okay, but in your packet, it's been red, it's red. So we want to get rid of that because we've just gone over the new checklist that we will be using, going forward. That's it there.
Okay. I think I prematurely approved, or we already voted for this, didn't we?
I think we mentioned it in the last.
The checklist before, this is there's kind of two checklists. aren't there?
Correct.
Because there's the checklist that was for the vendor, and then there's our checklist
We're getting rid of this checklist on this score sheet.
completely.
We're getting rid of the score sheet.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that's why
Yeah.
I'm confused. But this is going,
So we need
because
a
it's just a
motion,
yay or nay, right?
Correct.
we need a motion to. What's the motion here?
To eliminate the previous
score sheet?
Score sheet,
We have a motion to eliminate the previous score sheet.
Motion to approve the elimination of the pre-existing score sheet.
I second.
All in favor?
right?
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
All right.
Here's what
We heard you. We heard you.
73, 77? No.
We heard you.
I think there's some significant improvements in all of this, I think it's great.
Thank you.
You know, I love the two-tier thing. I think that's gonna create a lot of opportunities for the smaller events that are, you know, equally as important in a different kind of way.
No, my rule from when I was in Terry's position was you can do a lot of small events or you can do a big event. And the small events are usually a lot easier to handle, they're less expensive. And in the end of the day, the end of the year, they produce quite a few room nights. And ultimately, that's what we're after.
Right, and there's also the possibility or the opportunity for small events to grow a lot bigger.
Yeah, girls.
Okay, so sports event update. So I will do my best not to bore you all to death. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is these particular events. The Columbia Classic Golf Tournament. I put in here on your desk a template of what our newsletters will be looking like. It's titled, News and Update from the Space Coast Sports Commission. And in this update here, you'll see the Columbia Classic and the 2024 Moon Golf Invitational Golf Tournament. Their dates, who all participated, the winners, so on and so forth. So again, just as a means of communication with you guys, and it's giving y'all some just some insight as to what's going on. You know, one thing like in the past, you know, I wanted to improve upon just your engagement, complete engagement of you all. I figured if you have the want and the desire to offer your input, you know, we want to give you as much information as possible to keep you abreast of the happenings of the Sports Commission. The Ron John Beach and Boards Fest that just finished up. I attended that. I went there. Very good event, very family friendly event. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of food trucks, pickleball, surfing, obviously, volleyball. This is a great event for the community. That's like my second or third time attending, so I can speak to that. The Florida Marathon weekend again was held. Get those dates correct. Back in February 11. And as we all know, is begins at Front Street Park down in Melbourne, and of course includes running over both the O'Galley and the Melbourne Causeway bridges. The event that's going on right now, that's the Space Coast Green Game softball event at the USSSA complex. Just want to give you a brief synopsis of what's going on there. As it stands now, there are 116 total teams participating at this event. Some of the states represented are Wisconsin, Connecticut, New Hampshire, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, New Jersey, New York, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, British Columbia, and Texas and Alabama. And I can tell you, I've been there 2 days since it started. It is packed to the brim with not only teams, but fans and people coming down here to support their teams. And we worked up some preliminary numbers, myself and the event organizer, because most of those teams get a minimum of 10 rooms, and they say a minimum of 4 nights. So between all those teams, 10 rooms, 4 nights, we worked up about approximately 4,600 room nights already. We're here for a little bit about over a month. And these are room nights that are not including umpires and not including family numbers. These are strictly numbers produced by the team. So that's a promising event. And going forward, not only do they plan on having an event for softball next year, but they also are looking to have a baseball event as well. So we're looking at having 2 events of this caliber per year, if things work out. Upcoming events. On April 6th, we have the Space Coast Class Soccer Tournament that's done by Space Coast United Soccer Club. And that one had a projected room night of 800. So looking forward to supporting that as well. In other Space Coast Sports Commission news, we are engaging in a very, very exciting sports marketing campaign. That sports marketing campaign consists of a revitalization of our media library with photos, videography, drone footage, so on and so forth. Let me get my notes together here. We contracted with Great Scott Production for our videography and drone footage, and they have completed each and every one of their tasks. They took videos of our main facilities here in the county, our most used facilities in the county, those that could hold events. Viera Regional Park, Chain of Lakes, Mitchell Ellington, or just to name a few. We've been down to Canal 54. Cool story. We went down, myself and one of my teammates, we went down to Canal 54 just to take photographs and video, and happened upon a team from Dallas, Texas, that was a high school team that was down here in the area to train for a week. It was 58 students and 5 coaches. They had just come in from Orlando, and they were leaving this weekend. So they're training at Canal 54. There's a regatta that they're participating in on Saturday. But with that being said, just seeing them and just knowing that he was actually told about this location by a former college teammate, because a lot of people really don't know about Canal 54 and everything that it has to offer. So it was a pretty cool story, and meeting those guys, and it turns out, most of them were engineer or STEM students that were interested in that field. So I was able to get them a tour at Florida Tech today, a campus tour, and they're very excited about that. But that was a cool thing to happen. Another thing that we're doing besides the videos and photographs, we are doing we did a mail out. We have a mail out campaign as well with postcards. And our main targets are baseball and softball for spring training, lacrosse for training, obviously rowing for training. And these mail outs will be done strategically throughout the course of the year. In fact, we mapped out 4 prime air times throughout the course of the year to get those out to schools. The first would be when school starts, and that would have more of a welcome back message. The second would be when practice or preseason starts, and that's wishing them luck on the upcoming season. Once the season ends, we want to definitely push our area as a place to train for the year coming up. And at the end of school, obviously, I have a happy summer, good communicating with you. And we also like to speak to them before attending our trade shows, which I will talk about here momentarily. The trade shows that I attend, just to say, hey, I'm going to be here, would love to connect with you, see what's going on, catch up, see how your year went, the catch up essentially. Our next campaign is more of a, like I said, with the newsletter. We have subscribed to a digital coaches database, primarily of schools in the Northeast and the Midwest. As it stands now, we have 881 baseball contacts. These are schools, 793 lacrosse contacts, 138 rowing, 889 softball. So strategically, again, these newsletters, and I give you also on your desk in front of you, there are 2 examples of some blasts that were sent out to lacrosse and rowing teams. Again, this promoting the Space Coast for their training need. The rowing newsletter was sent out to 138 contacts and was opened by 102, which was a 80% almost open rate. So it was a very, very, it was received very well. We sent the lacrosse newsletter out to 1,186, and that had a 37% open rate. But from each of those, within a day or so, I was getting responses about just wanting to know more about the areas, how to go about, who can they contact, the facility, requesting more information. So just on that alone is already providing some sort of value just by doing that.
Terry, what's the name of that platform that harvests all that coaches' information? So
It is called, and get it right here, Quail Wade Coaches Directory. Quail Wade, CLELL WADE.
Used to be the College Blue Book.
It's be like a Bible.
It was my Bible, yeah, it was my Bible, it had everything in there that you needed to know. And it's just a little more advanced nowadays with, and that, you can reach out to Quell, and just give me all the email addresses for all the lacrosse coaches in Division II on the East Coast.
and
And
it's
they can send that to you.
an annual subscription.
It's an annual subscription.
That was my next question. How do we determine who we're targeting and who we're sending the digital and the postcards and the newsletters to?
Well, again, it all depends on the purpose. Our
Okay.
purpose is training. So more times than not, those teams that are up in the Northeast, in the Midwest, they're trying to get out of there.
So mostly location based,
Correct,
not necessarily division.
correct. Yeah.
Now, the target rich environment, as I like to call it,
Yeah.
is D2 and D3 teams, even JUCOs.
Okay.
Because there's so many more of them, and a D1 room night is equal to a D3 room night. As I like to say, they're both gonna pay the same price. But, put your efforts to where you have the most opportunities.
You're usually better at D2, D3 and JUCO to go directly to the coach anyway. Your D1s, you're gonna have a whole travel team and
Yeah.
usually a third party involved.
And the D1s in a lot of these programs, they're established, they're,
They have training sites and,
yeah.
thank
And-
you.
No, you're welcome. And to add to that, we also are creating a sport planner guide. A guide, for both a hard copy and a digital copy of the facilities that we have to offer, their locale in relation to key tourist areas, key, like how far is it to the beach, how far is it to the airport, both of our airports, so on and so forth. The most, the I-95, so on and so forth. So that's gonna be, I'm excited about doing that as well. Trade shows. Throughout the course of the year, and this too is on your desk in front of you, I had the ability to attend 3 trade shows. Again, each of them with the purpose of making contact with schools, and offering, a training location. The first one that I attended was the IWLCA, that's Women's Lacrosse. That was over in St. Pete, had great feedback from them. So much so that the executive director of the IWLCA, she actually did a site visit here, and we rode around looking at places that might be a viable location to actually not only train, but host an event. We went down to Florida Tech, we went to Merritt Island High School, we went to Cocoa Beach High School, we went to Vieira High School. So she was very, very impressed with the locations that we have, and just the ease of getting here, because she lives in Boston and she flew right into Orlando and drove right on over here. And then she went to another event while she was there down in St. Petersburg, and just the ease of even getting there. So it's the ease of getting here, the weather, and she is very, very high on getting, at least establishing a season starting event here, much like they do in softball. Some of the teams that you mentioned were like Utah, Syracuse, Notre Dame, that would come down here for 2 or 3 days to run an event. Now, obviously, room night wise, it's not going to do much, not as much as an amateur event would do, but name wise, it would do our area very, very well, name recognition. I then attended the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, made a lot of contacts there, as well as the American Baseball Coaches Association convention. Lots of contacts were made I've had numerous meetings with baseball so far with event organizers, people that are interested in hosting events, want to know more about our grant, so on and so forth. We also have an opportunity to sponsor again for the second year the Jefferson Dadville Regatta, which is up in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. And it's a major boating event, if you don't know what that is. Very impressive. A lot of schools of all divisions, men and women, attend this event. So again, that's one that we hope to visit in the future. Just to get in front of people and to answer any questions in person that people might have about our location. And that is your update.
Give me a little bit more on that HBCU softball invitation.
So I had an opportunity while at the softball event. I met a young lady who runs like John stated, a tournament, a classic. It's called the HBCU Invitational. And this is a invitational tournament made up exclusively of historically Black colleges and universities that will come down for 3 days and play games. We are still in talks with them. They plan on submitting paperwork for a grant as well. Their biggest thing is, they would like, since they're a fledgling, this is their first year doing it. They did it up in Conyers, Georgia this year. But since it's a fledgling event, they were really hoping, which they could do, they want to get some help with the facilities in the field. So they have 12 teams, so I don't see that being an issue. So I would expect that they would be an applicant when the application window opens.
For spring training event, essentially around that February, March, April time.
For that particular event, that would be a lead-off event, an invitational event to start their respective season. So they would congregate here before their season starts, and then they would go out. So it would be about the same time frame, though.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a moment about the difference between training and tournament. Training, Terry's out there and about doing his thing and he's talking to all these different teams. You know, the idea is come on down for training. We don't pay for training. If they come down here for training, that's great. Now, if they organize and they create a tournament, happens during the training, then yeah, we'll get involved with them there. But if they're using the fields and their facilities and they're doing all this and they're just training, they're on their own. And you know, like Len led to, and that is, you know, you get these teams, they're down here and they're just doing their training. But then they'll develop into a tournament. In the tournament, we'll assist with the tournament. But if they're training for 2 or 3 days before and 2 or 3 days after, and they're using fields and facilities, they're on their own there. That's the real value in bringing in those teams for the training. They don't cost you any money. You do your thing, you get out there, you get in front of them, you tell them how great the place is and what great facilities we have. They come down for that, and then you build on that from there, and they want to do a tournament, then we'll get involved with. So what Terry's talking about with HBCU, I really like it for a number of reasons. It's a very niche market that we can get behind and we can, you know, use to our advantage to start developing that down here. That could possibly be a tournament. And then you talk about the high schools from Texas or the other teams that are coming down here for rowing. Come on down, row all you want, stay in our hotels, stay, you know, go visit and everything like that. That's all on them. That's value. I also want to say that, you know, the nice thing about Terry going to all these trade shows and conferences, and he's only going to 5 now, right?
Correct.
Yeah, there's a lot more that are out there, but the nice thing about that is that previous to Terry getting here, we were more reactive than proactive in the efforts to promote sports. Now that Terry's out there, you know, everybody goes, oh, hey, new guy, right? You know, a new destination and shiny and it's new and it's different and it's really important that we take complete advantage of this newness and develop relationships so that people are coming here on a regular basis. So he's doing great stuff. That's what I want to say.
Well, thank you. And the last thing we'll do before we move forward is to have a brief discussion about the mode and frequency of our communication. Like, what would you like to see? What, you know, how much is too much? How much is too little? So
What were you guys doing, I guess, last year previously?
I'll see you in March, I'll see you in August, and I'll see you in November. Now, again, a part of that, and I'm not gonna put the blame on anybody, is just trying to figure everything out. You know, we have so many moving parts, but at the minimum, you know, that's what I'm going into this year. At the absolute minimum, we'll get a newsletter at least once a month.
Okay.
You know, so it could be me, myself, you know, if something were to come up, like for instance, if you just got a newsletter and I come across a group from Dallas, I would like to share that with you, like instantly, to let you know that, hey, we got people coming here. The athletic director of Eastern Florida State College, Jeff Carr, texted me the day before yesterday, and he said, just so you know, the Australian women's national soccer team just called me yesterday, and they are coming April 1st through the 6th to train in our place. They're going to have 45 rooms a night plus catering for a week. So, and these are things that we don't know about, but I would like to share that with you because I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Are they playing any matches or just training?
I think they're just training.
Well,
Australia all the way.
here's what I'll tell you. So that used to be my business. I used to run the U.S. Women's National Training Center up in Stanford, Florida. So when we'd have Australia, we'd have Germany, we'd have Sweden, we'd have all these teams coming in to play them. And so they wouldn't play at the Citrus Bowl, but they would come in for training. That's what they would do. But they would always have these, what do you call it? Friendlies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd have friendlies at my training center. So literally you were watching Australia versus the United States on a field and there was like 8 people standing there watching. it, you know? So, you know, if they were gonna be doing something at that college and they were gonna, that's something we should really look into now.
Is it a U21 team? Do we know?
He didn't-
The national team, well,
He
yeah,
didn't
it could be U18.
U18 or something
Or
like that.
whatever. But if they're gonna do a friendly, that might be something that we
Mhm.
wanna talk about.
So again, I go back to, what do you think is too much? What would you like to see as a committee member to make sure that you're engaged and you feel like you have some sort of interest in this whole entire process? Because it will pick up, especially once we get all these applicants
Mhm.
and applications, and we've got to go through them and sift through them thoroughly. And before they get to you, I got to make sure that they have everything that they need to have before they can move on, because you won't see them until that checklist is complete. And only then, so, but it's open the floor up to y'all frequently.
I don't know if we have the agenda for every month, but it's every other month. I mean, for me personally, if it's on my calendar, it's better, even if we have to cancel it, than it is to try and put it on last minute, for me personally.
So
So,
you're talking about an in-person meeting.
yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Newsletters, this is what's going on.
I mean, I don't, if you have something, I'm open to getting it however, whenever. If that's just like an email or a newsletter, yeah, the frequency doesn't bother me there.
I think too much information is always better than not enough.
Yeah,
No matter what it is, right?
I'm a wife, so I agree.
And also, it's not just, it's like even like current events, what's going on in the state, regarding sports tourism, new facilities, new happenings. That's thing we just need to be aware of. I'm gonna try my best to keep you all as current as possible. That's the least I can do.
Terry, when do you anticipate the applications? I think one of the things that we've struggled with in the past is the turnaround time, receiving the applications and then getting it back. So I think more than anything else, if we could get those and, give us a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks would be ideal
To review.
to review, because the last minute, it's tough. It puts a bit of a,
The process is simpler though.
The process is simple,
You're not scoring.
and according to the schedule that we just approved today, you will get all the applications on this. Let me back up. The window opens on the 1st of May, it closes on the 31st. So I have 15 days to get those to you. You'll have them by the 15th. And then the recommendation meeting is July 10th. So it's almost a month that you'll have. Which I think is, yeah. So I really like the way that it's spaced out. I really like that. So I know you appreciate it too, obviously.
You can review 1 grant a day. Having that many grants come in.
no, it's fine. Okay, it's great.
Well, the other thing too, I'd like to mention is that this is 2-way, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys stumble on anything, or if you just have like, geez, I just saw this or that or the other thing, reach out to Terry. That's what we're here for. We'll find out answers. And I should say too that Terry and I have every 2 weeks, the Sunshine Sports Council.
Correct.
So it's a closed group of sports commissions and others from around the state of Florida. And we're talking about the state of the youth, the state of the state and the state of the game, sports. Where that's just more information, valid or valuable information that we can share with you guys too as well. But we're getting this from Miami to Pensacola. We're getting all this feedback.
Okay, before we move forward again, I just some housekeeping here. Your potential conflict disclosure form. I have one from Lynn Mims, Fred Poppy, Andrew Watson, Jason Pierce, and Wayne Ford.
I have mine.
So that's everybody.
No, I'm gonna email you
Okay.
right now. Actually.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
That's fine. So that's all I have, Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, excuse me.
I don't think we have anything for public comment today.
The mystery person online there, whoever that is, the number.
Yeah, I guess if anybody online has.
Yeah, any commentary from the people online?
Trying to find them unmute button.
And don't forget your journal.
Yeah.
Take those with you as well, please.
Need a motion to adjourn? All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We just want to stay here, really.
Nobody wants to go back to bed?
There's too much.
Hang on, we can work. We can do
Okay,
that.
give it till 3:30. Wait, am I on? I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right,
Who's
second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have to make that point.
Yeah.
I really loved it last week.
Meetings in there always last.